Chapter 8. Did you have fun in there? Naruto said as he walked beside Emilia. Emilia smiled, remembering her recent trip to Erlem village. Hanging out with children and villagers alike. She had so much fun with them. The respect and admiration the villagers had for her now was heartwarming and reminded her of why she wanted to rule the kingdom in the first place. Yes, it was fun. She admitted with a smile as she looked at him. Back in the village, a lot of the villagers liked Naruto and his warm personality, especially the children whom he rescued. When they were saying their goodbyes, the children begged them to stay there with them a little longer, showing just how much they enjoyed their presence. Even though Naruto was definitely the center of attention in the village due to his recent popularity, Emilia wasn't forgotten at all. Every time loneliness threatened to come close to her mind, the children and Naruto would usher her to play with them, all the while the adults watched and laughed, slowly but surely changing their minds about Emilia and her heritage. Her cloak was no longer part of her attire. All of this experience brought so much joy to her, that she wasn't even aware of this fact. Naruto too seemed to be having a good time. His somewhat goofy and caring personality made him very popular with the young and very respected by the old. She marveled at the new and bright experiences she was having in her life, all because of him. Just thinking about him brought about a new feeling in her chest, one she was very inexperienced with. All of this was just like a dream to her, like a fantasy, a book where all was good and bright. Thinking about it, there was a book like that, with a character not unlike the one she was just having fun with, the tale of the utterly gutsy shinobi. Your sensei was right about you. You're just like that character in the book. She said to Naruto, who was currently eating a sandwich, a gift from the villagers. What was that? Nothing. She replied with a smile as she walked ahead of him and turned back to see him. She smiled at his playfully narrowed eyes. You're hiding something from me. Naruto said. No. She lied with a small giggle. You're lying. I heard you talking about me. Seeing him stomp the ground in mock anger, Emilia backed away a few meters from him, hands raised in mock surrender. You're going to have to chase me to the mansion. She said with a laugh as she started to run away from him. Hey, wait. Naruto yelled as he ran after her, only to slip on some ice and falling his face first into the ground. He quickly recognized this magic as he looked up and found Puck. Emilia, that's not fair. You have Puck to play tricks on me. You're a shinobi. You're too fast, so I have Puck to be my partner. She laughed as she kept running from him. You better catch her, Naruto. Puck smirked as he prepared 6 magic balls and aimed at him. The blonde shinobi smiled challengingly and accepted their little game as he chased Emilia. About 15 minutes later, the chase was over as Naruto managed to catch the running form of Emilia. He slipped on the ice floor 20 times because of Puck's ice magic. All of them had fun together with their short game. Can't believe you slipped on your butt so many times. Does it hurt? Puck asked with a playful face. Damn right, it hurts. Naruto yelled as he glared at the spirit creature for using that damned ice floor on him. If he wasn't capable of self-regeneration, he was positive he would need a pillow to seat anywhere. Emilia giggled at Naruto's childish behavior. Seeing him arguing with Puck amused her greatly. Those two sure had a great friendship despite meeting each other rather recently. Only Naruto could make her laugh like this. She liked his personality because he wasn't a false guy like other men she knew. He wasn't like them at all. When he passed through the sunlight, her eyes widened in shock at what she saw. His body had changed into a glowing golden magic with a golden coat. There were strange black symbols on his back. His magic was so bright and warm. It was beautiful. So beautiful, in fact, that she forgot all about how close they were to their destination. Emilia, we have guests. Naruto said, snapping her of her trance as he pointed at a carriage in front of the mansion. Yes, I see it. The silver-haired girl said, shaking her head. In front of Roswell's mansion, there was a single horse-sized lizard attached to a carriage. The lizard species was unfamiliar to Naruto, as he had never seen one before. He had only seen horses in this world act as pullers of carriages, so seeing a lizard much bigger than a horse doing the same was lightly surprising to him. The lizard wasn't the only unknown thing in his view, however. A white-haired old guy standing by the carriage was as well. He had white hair and blue eyes. He wore a black butler suit with a white shirt, white vest, and black bow tie. They must be from the capital. Emilia said. Really? Maybe about the royal selection? Naruto inquired. Emilia nodded unsurely as she and Naruto walked in the main road to greet the old man. Welcome home. Please forgive me for parking in front of your mansion, Emilia-sama. The old man greeted with respect as he bowed to them. After he bowed, he noticed a blonde man was standing beside Emilia. I believe we haven't met before. Naruto Uzumaki, it's nice to meet you. The blonde man greeted with a smile as both of them shook their hand respectfully. Wilhelm van Astria, a pleasure, young man. He sensed the old man's intense gaze locked on him, azure eyes meet sapphire blue. His eyes were serious and deadly. The shinobi could tell that he had experienced through war and death. Judging by Wilhelm's appearance and aura, he wasn't just an old butler, but he was a killer and a great fighter. This old man is dangerous. I wouldn't underestimate him if I were you. Kurama warned. Naruto nodded to him mentally as he continued to smile at Wilhelm. So, what brings you here from the capital? He asked cautiously. Anyone who Kurama saw as a potential threat wasn't someone to take lightly. Is it about the royal selection? Emilia asked as she walked beside him. Yes, Emilia-sama. It's about the royal selection and an emissary is already inside the mansion. Wilhelm answered. I see. Emilia murmured with a curious face. She didn't know they would come today. Naruto didn't seem to know a lot about an emissary and a meeting. He looked at Emilia, who had a serious look on her face. Emilia, do you want me to go with you? He asked. No thank you, Naruto. Emilia said with a smile as she looked at him. Roswell should be in the meeting room too, so I'll be fine. Oh. And, I will tell Rem to pass you and Wilhelm some tea, so could you wait outside for her? No problem Tebeo. He said as he watched Emilia go inside the mansion to meet the emissary. Naruto stayed outside with Wilhelm, waiting for Rem to get the tea for them. The blonde man looked away from the older man, not staring at his eyes because he didn't want to seem disrespectful. So, tell me. Are you some kind of bodyguard or butler? Naruto asked as he gazed at him. Both. Wilhelm answered as he looked at his company. This blonde boy was a young kid, but experience told him that he wasn't just a kid. Are you? Both, I guess, but not really. You see, I'm sort of a guest in Roswell's mansion since Emilia lets me live in here. The blonde man said. So yeah, you can tell I'm like you. I'm just making sure she's safe. I see. By the way, I did see that you are quite close to Emilia-sama. We're just good friends. Naruto said with a smile as he crossed his arms and sat down on the edge of the water fountain. She's sweet, kind, and warm. She was so happy when I became her first friend. Emilia hasn't had friends in the past because her appearance frightens people, quite sad the amount of ignorance in people's minds. He was speaking the truth but also reading the old man's emotions, so it came as a welcome surprise when he found none against Emilia. Wilhelm watched him very carefully while he's talking with him. His voice. His eyes. They're serious and honest. The blonde human wasn't pretending or lying to him. He doesn't seem to be afraid of Emilia, a half-elf. On another note about Naruto, Emilia seemed to enjoy his presence a lot based on the scene they made at the gate when he watched them from the main entrance. Her laugh. Her smile. He started to like his presence and personality because of how he takes care of Emilia. Maybe, that's why Emilia showed him her sincere laugh and smiled at him. Emilia-sama should be happy that she has you, Naruto-sama. I can quite tell that she enjoys your presence. Wilhelm said. Please, call me Naruto. I'm not one for formalities. And quite the contrary, I'm blessed with having her in my life. After all, I don't make promises to anybody. A promise? Yep, a promise that I never break and never go back on. Naruto smiled as he put his hand on his chest. Hopefully, she'll become a great king one day, her heart is right for the position. I know people won't like her at first, however, she would never give up just because of that. After all, the curse that plagues the world will be broken only by those blessed with a good heart and good intentions. Wilhelm narrowed his eyes with an interesting expression as he looked at him. A curse? He asked, not having heard of a worldwide curse before. A curse which represents the cycles of war, conflict, and hatred that occupies the world. Emilia will break that curse, I'm sure of it. If there's such a thing as peace, she'll find it. She will be king and she will bring peace to the kingdom of Lugnica. I believe in her. That's just who Emilia is. This boy, Wilhelm thought as he stared at his eyes. They're strong and courageous, he meant every single word he said. The boy delivered a good speech to him about how Emilia is going to change the world, and meant every single word. Naruto truly believes she'll be the king who will break the curse of war, conflict, and hatred. It was true that humans don't like her, but no matter how much it hurts, she's going to keep walking, because that was the path she chose. However, if Wilhelm had to be honest about Naruto, he could imagine Naruto taking her role to rule the kingdom. He could change history and break the curse that he believed plagued the world. Naruto-kun, Wilhelm-san. The two men turned around to look at the blue-haired maid who brought the tea for them. Well, she brought apple juice for Naruto because he doesn't like tea. Hey, Remington. You brought apple juice. Naruto said with a smile. Can you pass the tea for Wilhelm? It's your favorite drink, Naruto-kun. And yes. Rem smiled as she poured the tea in the cup for Wilhelm. Please, enjoy. Wilhelm took a sip of the tea and sighed in satisfaction. It tastes lovely. He said. Thank you. Rem said as she bowed lightly and poured the apple juice for Naruto. Thank you, Remington. Naruto said. I'm back, old man Will. Sorry to make you wait outside. Naruto heard a new female's voice speak. Turning around he saw a cute girl with cat ears. She looks a little bit older than him. She has flax-colored hair and yellow eyes. She wore a blue collar with a ribbon and a blue dress. Her arm covers are white and a blue scarf tied around her right arm. She wore black tights, blue leggings, and blue shoes. I bet you were bored. She said. Not at all. This young man, Naruto, has been speaking with me. Wilhelm said. Oh, now I see. You must be the boy Emilia-sama mentioned. Is it true that you saved her life? She asked. Yes, that's me. It's nice to meet you, but I have to go right now. The cat girl said as she walked toward the carriage. See you. Naruto and Rem watched them leave the mansion to head back to the capital. Naruto didn't catch her name because she didn't introduce herself. She was a cute girl though. He blinked in confusion when he heard snickers in his mind. They seemed to be holding a laugh, hard. Narrowing his eyes suspiciously he turned to Rem. Rem, who was that cute cat girl? He asked. His name is Ferris. His? She's a guy. Haku. Why are you yelling Naruto? What is an Haku? In the forest, Wilhelm and Ferris were on their way back to the capital. Ferris was talking to him after he saw him chatting with the new blonde boy. Isn't it rare for you to take an interest in others? He asked. That's quite a misunderstanding you have there. Wilhelm said. Oh, that's right. It's not that you aren't interested in others. Ferris said as he gave him a death stare. You just like to cut them instead of talking with them. That's also a grave misunderstanding. I wouldn't go easy on him. He said with a slight smile as he glanced back to him. Did Emilia-sama tell you about Naruto? I'm surprised you asked me that. Ferris said as he remembered the blonde man. Emilia-sama told me that he saved her life from an assassin. Naruto defeated a vampire known as the Bull Hunter. I believe you are familiar with that name. No wonder Wilhelm started to take an interest in Naruto Uzumaki. Anyone who killed Elsa was someone to be cautious of. After all, Elsa was the Bull Hunter, and a former member of the assassination organization. When he looked at the blonde boy's eyes, they were strong, fearless, and selfless, the qualities of a true knight. Naruto wasn't like a knight or an assassin, he seemed to embody both ways, an assassin with a noble heart. How odd, this wasn't something normal, that much was true. I merely took a bit of a liking to that young man's eyes. Wilhelm said. Those are the eyes of one who has experienced war and death. You've lost me now. Ferris said. But if Wilhelm van Astria, the sword demon, says it, I'm sure the boy will face quite a bumpy road in the future. I wouldn't say that, Ferris. He said as he remembered Naruto's eyes. That boy faced great enemies in the past. I can tell. I wouldn't make light of his abilities, if I were you. What do you mean? If my instincts are right, he could outmatch my grandson. But then again, we have just met him, it's too soon to make assumptions like that. I wonder about that. You want me to go to the capital? Naruto asked, surprised as he stared at Emilia. Yes, I want you to go with us to the capital. She said with a nod. But, I thought the royal selection only allows royal candidates and the best bodyguards. Naruto said, having talked about this a little with Rem before. The blonde shinobi was surprised that Emilia wanted him to go to the capital with her. He read about the royal selection, only allowing royal candidates and bodyguards, like Roswell, who had been with her for a long time. Well, Naruto wasn't part of this, and neither was he a bodyguard. He's just a guest in Roswell's mansion. Naruto was an outsider. He doesn't need to go with them because Roswell and Rem are going with Emilia, him going as well would be overkill. Emilia, I'd love to go, but he was interrupted as his hand was grabbed by her smaller hands. It made him look at her begging face with one of confusion. I'm not ready to go royal selection on my own. The reason why I want you to go with me, it's because you helped me with my dream and believed in me since I met you. Without a question you believed that I could do it, even when sometimes I was in doubt myself. So, I need you to go with me and cheer me up, she said as she gripped his hand a bit tighter. Please. Her gentle voice reached his heart and he knew at that moment that he had no option, he would support her no matter what, he believed in her and her goals, after all. Alright, I'll come to the royal selection, but just for you, he said with a smile and an amused shake of his head. Hearing that had Emilia showing a big smile, Naruto couldn't help but smile back seeing her happiness. He promised to himself that he will try his best to make her happy. It seems there are people in the capital who wanted thank you, Naruto-kun. This may be a good opportunity for you to welcome them, Rem said. Oh, yeah. I almost forgot about that. Naruto remembered as he started to smile and stroked her head. Thanks for reminding me, Remington. You're welcome. Rem smiled. Also, I need to get a new combat suit, Naruto said as he looked over his butler uniform. I just can't keep wearing this suit every day. You know, there's a good armory shop in the capital, I'm sure you'll find something that suits your taste there. It's been a long time since I was last here, Naruto said as he looked outside the window of a carriage. He's back in the capital of the kingdom of Lugnica. I remembered you did some crazy stuff to me, Emilia said as she remembered how she got carried by him jumping on buildings. Gosh, that scared her so much. I know you were having fun. He smirked. No, it was scary. You should have warned me. Come on, Emilia. It wasn't that scary. She remembered the place where she met Naruto for the first time and how he helped her find her insignia. It was stolen by a thief named Felt, if memory served her right. However, the little girl returned the insignia to her and apologized. Before that, an assassin named Elsa Granhier tried to kill Emilia, but Naruto saved her life. He killed her before Reinhard got there. After that, Emilia remembered she offered him to come to live with her in Roswell's mansion. She was glad she made such a good friend that day, who knows what her life would be now if she didn't stumble onto him. I wonder where's Felt and Rom. I remember Reinhard is taking care of those two, right? Naruto pondered, having remembered the same events as her. Almost, but he suddenly took Felt with him, Emilia said as she remembered that one time. Reinhard knocked that girl out and took her to someplace. That makes it sound like a kidnapping, or abduction and confinement, Naruto said with a sweat drop. In any case, we should head to the guards' barracks in front of the nobles area to contact Reinhard. Minutes later, they arrived at the guards' barrack in front of the nobles area. It was a very impressive building and well guarded, judging by the knights in front of it. So this is the guards' barracks. I'm impressed, Naruto said as he looked at the building and the guards. It also serves as a checkpoint for people going in and out of the nobles area, Emilia said. Then, we need to hurry or else Rem will pout. You're right. Well, if it isn't Emilia-sama. Naruto heard an unfamiliar voice as he turned to see the person who called her name. They saw a handsome guy with royal guard uniform which is kinda similar to Reinhard's uniform. His eyes were yellow and he had light purple hair that was arranged neatly with a strand hanging down his face. It's good to see you again. Have you been well since we last met? The knight, judging by the attire, asked. Yes, everything is basically the same. You also seem well, Julius. I'm surprised to see a member of the royal guard like you in the barracks. I came here to inspect and praise the soldiers for their good work, after a friend asked me to. The mere fact that you remember me is an honor. It sure was good that I came here, I was able to see how much you have grown beautiful, Emilia-sama. Julius said as he approached Emilia and bended down on his knee and take her hand. Then, he kissed it in a scene only a knight like him could offer. Thank you, Julius. This may be abrupt but I have business here, and I'd like you to announce me at the castle, she said. I see, of course, Emilia-sama. Naruto stood right beside her and didn't react at all when he saw Julius kiss Emilia's hand. That, however, triggered the Bijus as they told him that guy was trying to steal her away from him. The blonde, however, knew that he couldn't do anything stupid or else he could embarrass Emilia, so he just stayed still. That didn't stop him from feeling a little bit jealous at this, but he held it within himself well. Does your business involve this young man? Julius asked as he looked at the blonde man. He observed him for a bit, and then asked. May I ask your name? Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto said with a smile as he gestured a handshake to him. I heard she called your name, so you're Julius. Yes, my name is Julius Jaculius. Julius said as he looked at Emilia. I'll guide you to the conversing mirror now. You can talk with Reinhard there. Conversing mirror? The blonde shinobi asked, having never heard the term before. It's a meteor that facilitates talking with someone, using two mirrors facing one another. There's a lot of them, so they are used for communication. Emilia said. Oh, what an ingenious form of communication. Naruto thought as he looked at Julius and Emilia. Want me to stay here and wait for you? How did you know? A lucky guess. Since Julius is helping you, I'm sure you'll be safe with him. Emilia was surprised he guessed her mind right. She was going to tell him to wait outside for her. I'll try to come back before things run too long, she said as she and Julius walked inside the guards' barracks. Naruto watched them walk inside the building. When they were gone, he sat on the stone bricks. The kingdom of Lugnica hasn't changed a bit since he left to live in Roswell's mansion. Everything is the same and there was nothing new. He had to admire the architecture though, it was very different from his home. However, not only he's here to be with Emilia, he also had to be looking out for her because she could be targeted by assassins. He found out that the girl with blue hair was a former member of the assassination organization. She was Kid, but not a normal one because she's a beast tamer who tamed the Woolgarm from 3 days ago, a no small feat for one so young, or so he read. Deciding to do something else to pass the time, he closed his eyes and entered the all-too-familiar sewer that was his mindscape. Any clues on why Emilia is the target? Naruto said as he looked at Kurama and the others. I believe they're trying to kill Emilia because she's a witch. Humans tend to hate what is not like them, more so the things that remind them of what they hate. Son Goku said. Not only them, but we have another enemy called the witch cult. They serve the witch of envy, Satella. Why do you say that? Asked Kokuo. I feel like the witch cult is probably targeting Dash. Naruto paused as he saw a girl being dragged in an alleyway. The blonde shinobi got off the bricks and walked toward the alley where the girl was dragged to. He took a peek to see what was going on until he saw 3 thugs, bullying a beautiful girl. Naruto remembered those 3 thugs, he beat them up several days ago. But, the girl, he hasn't seen her before. The girl has red eyes with the long orange hair that she keeps tied. She wears a red and black dress along with a red fan, red shoes, and red and black hair accessories. You little. Don't screw with us. Want us to mess up that pretty face of yours? Don't make such a racket, commoners. Fools with no character pick fights for the most foolish of reasons. The girl said as she unfolded her red fan, and blinking in confusion when she saw a blonde boy behind the thugs. The big guy felt someone is tapping on his shoulder, which him pissed. When he turned around to yell or punch the person who had dared to interrupt them, his eyes widened with fear for meeting that boy who beat them up before. It can't be. It's you. He said as the other guys turned around and adopted the same expression as their boss, shock and some fear. You're that guy. Chin, the skinny guy said. Please spare us. Can, the little guy said. Naruto cracked his fists and glared at them for assaulting the young lady. Words aren't going to help you. He said. Asterisk pow. Pow. Pow, asterisk. All 3 thugs were knocked out and beaten up by a single punch to the skull. The blonde shinobi sighed and shook his head in disappointment. He warned them not to rob people again, but they didn't listen. Hopefully, this time they learned their lesson. Naruto turned around to the orange-haired girl to ensure her safety, but he got surprised when she approached him readily and quickly. Azure eyes meet crimson red eyes. They found themselves staring at each other for a few seconds. What's up? He asked. You there. The girl called as she pointed her fan and gave a serious look at him. What's your name? Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto said slowly as he noticed her eyes are staring at him. Who are you? That question seemed to insult her as she glared at him. You don't know who I am? I'm Priscilla Bariel, one of the candidates to become the next king of Lugnica. She said loudly. From now on, you will be my slave knight. Naruto blinked his eyes in confusion at her. He learned Priscilla is one of the candidates for king, so this was one of Emilia's rivals. Sorry, I have to go now because someone is waiting for me, and you're very welcome. He replied as he turned away, but his sleeve was grabbed by her hand. How dare you turn away from me? I will ask you nicely, will you be my knight? You're the candidate, so that means you have your own knight. I can't be your knight. Let go of my sleeve, you crazy lady dash. I finally find you. Naruto heard a familiar voice and he turned to see Emilia. She must have been looking for him since he had to go and save Priscilla. He saw a muscular person standing next to Emilia. His appearance didn't seem like that of a knight because he wore a helmet and a green open vest. He wore tan pants, sandals, and an orange cloak. Emilia? He sounded surprised as he approached the silver-haired girl while staring at the stranger with a helmet. Sorry that I ran off, but who's this? I am Al, Priscilla's knight. He introduced himself. Al? Oh, you're her knight. Naruto said as he pointed at the red-dressed girl. She's over there. To think that you'd be waiting for me at my destination. That's admirable, Al. Priscilla said as she approached them. I think it's more of a coincidence, but saying too much might hurt her, so I'll just agree with her. Al said as he delivered a thumb up. That's exactly right. Don't worry about her feelings and then think like that out loud, you idiot. Naruto thought with a sweat drop. Emilia saw Priscilla was approaching them, so she held her hood up and moved closer to Naruto's back. The blonde shinobi glanced back to see her, however, he noticed her eyes becoming fearful when she's looking at the red-dressed girl. Well, it looks like we both found the ones we were looking for. Let's go. Naruto said, eager to get away from the woman before Emilia became more uncomfortable. That girl from before. Oh, you mean Priscilla? She's one of the candidates. She was in trouble, so I had to dash. Where did you meet that girl? And how dash? Emilia. The silver-haired girl bumped on his chest and looked at his face. His facial expression said was worried and curious. He was looking her straight in the eye. I'm sorry. I didn't know that you two weren't friends because of your appearance. He asked. Emilia nodded and looked down at the ground to avoid his gaze. She couldn't see him like this. He had the ability to immediately tell what she was thinking. It was a blessing and sometimes even a curse. She didn't tell him that there were 4 candidates wanting to become king. She couldn't blame him because he didn't know Priscilla was one of the candidates, much less that she looked at her with bad eyes. Did she say anything bad to you? Naruto asked softly. The half-elf couldn't say no to him, so she nodded to him truthfully. The truth was that she was being discriminated against by them. They didn't like her because she's a silver-haired witch, like Satella. Now, she couldn't bear to hold it any longer, so her facial expression turned sad. Looking down with her sad face, she still couldn't gaze at him, lest she risk her thoughts being bared before him. She was going to say something until her voice was caught in her throat. Her chin was lifted by rough fingers. The feeling was quite unfamiliar. Naruto was kissing her on the forehead. You sure are headstrong, though I would say that only adds cute points to you. How many times do I have to tell you that it doesn't matter what people think of you, the only thing that matters is that you have people who believe in you, you have to move forward not only for you but for them as well, for us. So stop being sad, because there are people who care for you and don't want to see you like that. He said with a gentle smile. His gentle smile made her heart race up and the color of red flashed on her cheeks. His voice was so gentle and his words as sweet as honey. They reached her heart and changed her sad face into a surprised one. Getting kissed on her forehead by him, it was her first time. She never had that experience before, but it felt nice. Am I that headstrong? She wondered. Yep, but don't worry, I'll always be there to look out for that. Really? Damn straight. Emilia let out a giggle. She didn't know why she did that, but hearing those words from him, it sounded very funny and reassuring. Thank you, Naruto. She said. You're welcome. Naruto said as he smiled at her when she turned happy once again. It was a natural look for her, unlike her sad face. But, there was a big problem that he mustn't forget, his goal. His goal is to save the world or find a way to get back to his home. He couldn't just stay in here forever, but if he leaves this world, he would have to leave Emilia alone. He made the promise to her and Rem that he wouldn't leave them, but wouldn't he? Could he choose between his home and the new friends he made here? Uzumaki Naruto never breaks his promises, but could he just leave these world without having the reassurance that he could come back for them? What should he do? Should he tell them the truth? Would they believe him and support him? Naruto, even if you save the world, you're going to have to leave them. They belong in here. If Emilia does become the new king, for how long will she rule? Don't forget her age. Matatabi said. I know. Why not just take them with you? Sun asked. Bad idea, only you can go back to our home. They probably won't let you take them. You have to take into consideration that you aren't here just because someone had to bring you here. It doesn't make sense for you to just appear out of nowhere in this world. Kurama said. I know, but I think I'm going to tell them when the time comes. You should, because you told the little brat about us. Kurama said. You're the one that you wanted me to tell her. Hey, Naruto. Emilia said. Yeah, what's up? He asked as he looked at Emilia. You said you needed to go to an armory. Now, it's your chance to go there. I thought you were going to take me there. Well, I don't know where to find it. The half-elf confessed as her face glowed a pink hue. Maybe it'll be best to have Rem go with you. After she confessed to him, she hears him sighing at her in disappointment as her face glowed even redder from embarrassment. She gave a pout and a light slap in the arm to him for the sigh. Don't sigh to me. I confess to you that I don't know where it is. She yelled indignantly. Sorry, sorry. He laughed. Looking around, he stopped when he saw a jewel shop on his right. Emilia, wait here for a minute. Emilia looked at him with confusion, but she nodded and watched him go inside the jewel shop. There was nothing she could do right now, but wait for his return. She smiled fondly, thinking about the oddity that was Naruto, and the place he deserved in her heart despite so little time knowing each other. It was nice of him to comfort her. Though, the kiss on her forehead was a surprise. He understands your feelings, Lia. Puck said mentally. I know, he's so nice to me. He knows a lot about me and my feelings. She said, remembering her hesitance to look at him in the eye was for that exact reason. Maybe he has had similar experiences to yours. He doesn't want you to go through that like he did. That's why he made that promise to you. He said. Promise. Emilia said as she remembered the promise he made to her. What do you mean he has had similar experiences to mine? I looked at his eyes. You two have very similar eyes when you think about bad things. He must have been through a lot of hardships and pain, like what you experience. Emilia, I'm back. The silver-haired girl heard as she looked up to see him come back from the jewel shop. She was curious, what did he buy from there? She spotted a white quartz butterfly hairpin. The hairpin looks very beautiful with such blue color, and the butterfly is her favorite bug, so it looked even prettier. She was going to ask him why did he buy such an object, until he moved in closer and removed the white hairpin from the left side of her hair. Then, he replaced it with the new one and stepped back with his smile. The half-elf reached her hand for the new hairpin and felt it. Naruto, is this for me? She asked with a shocked expression. Her mind was completely blown for the simple but caring gesture of the blonde. This is for you, Emilia. I bought it for you. Naruto said with a smile as he looked at her new hairpin. You look beautiful. Emilia touched the new hairpin again. She never had a gift from someone. It was the first time someone bought a gift for her. Thank you, Naruto. She said with a smile. I won't forget this. You're welcome. We should get going before Rem dash. The blonde man paused as he saw Emilia hold his hand. He raised an eyebrow in curiosity. The silver-haired girl didn't know why her hand suddenly grabbed his but went along with it. See, can I? She asked with a blush. Sure. Naruto answered without hesitation as he smiled slightly and held her hand back, reassuring her that was there for her. The half-elf and blonde shinobi walked together with smiles, hands intertwined. Emilia couldn't help but blush when he accepted her request. It was her idea to hold hands, and even though she almost died of embarrassment, it turned out all right. This was her first time holding his hand. She didn't have much experience holding someone's hand, so she felt nervous about it. Feeling Naruto's hand, she started to like it. His warmth enveloped her hand and made her relax. Every time she touched him, every time she looked into his eyes, she felt a comfort she never experienced before. His bright full personality illuminated her lonely soul. The promise he made to her seemed like an unmovable pillar, one that filled her with hope for the future. No matter how many times she started to sink back into darkness, he seemed to be there to get her out once again, never giving up and never asking for anything in return, almost like her guardian angel. After Naruto brought Emilia to the house where Roswell and Rem were, Emilia told Rem to guide Naruto to the armor shop. Rem accepted her request, so she and Naruto headed out to the armor shop together. "So, Naruto-kun, what kind of armor do you want from there?" Rem asked. Naruto crossed his arms with a thoughtful look on his face. "Not really an armor, but I just need light protection, something resistant and that allows me to move freely. Also, more weapons," he said, looking over his restricting butler uniform. "Something wrong? You were looking at your clothes," she said. "Actually, I need new clothes. I can't wear this butler suit every day. I'm not used to fight in such fancy uniform." "I see," the blue-haired maid said with a smile. "Then, I will help you find your new clothes. I will do my best to bail." "Hey! No copying, that is a Naruto Uzumaki only," Naruto said, pushing her lightly with his hip as she giggled at him for their playful banter. Rem sure has changed a lot since he first met her. Her smile. Her laugh. It was nice to see that side of her. Even though it wasn't much, Naruto would like to believe that he brought a simple change to Rem's life. "By the way, Remington." "Yes, Naruto-kun." Naruto observed her maid clothes closely. He hasn't seen her wearing different clothes since he first saw her. Like Emilia, she has been wearing the same dress every day. "How come you keep wearing the same clothes?" he asked. "Ah, my sister and I do not have any clothes apart from our uniforms. We store our change of clothes within our rooms," Rem answered as she noticed his brow was furrowed in concentration. "Is there something wrong with my uniform?" "No, not at all. I think you look great in your uniform, but..." Naruto said with a blush as he scratched his cheek lightly with a finger. "I don't want to be rude, but it'll be better if you could wear different clothes. I believe you would be cuter with something different." "See cuter," she said with a blush as she rolled over her fingers and turned away from him, so he couldn't see her blush. Then, I'll go shopping to buy some clothes for myself if that's your wish, Naruto-kun." Naruto blinked his eyes for seconds, but he smiled at her as he grabbed her hand and proceeded to lead her away into a different street. He could feel her hand tighten around his and heard her laugh. So, he laughed with her too. "Best shopping day, ever. Wow, it's huge." Naruto was amazed by the throne room. He explores with his eyes around the area. The building is huge and a lot of knights were stationed there. However, he saw the other group wearing expensive clothes on the right side of the knights, making sure to leave a huge path in the center of the building. They must be nobles, seeing that they had no weapons or armor. He noticed the glares that they were sending Emilia. It wasn't from the knights because they showed respect. The glares were from the nobles. They didn't seem too happy to see her. Seeing them glare at Emilia made Naruto very angry at them. However, he needed to calm down and not do stupid things for Emilia. He couldn't help but dislike these people already. He remembered his past when he was an orphan child and got hated by the villagers because he had Kurama inside of him, something he couldn't help, like Emilia who couldn't help the way she was born. He had been through a lot of shit and pains for people like the majority of this nobles. "Naruto, are you okay?" the silver-haired girl asked, seeing him frown. The blonde shinobi looked at her and nodded. "Yeah, I'm fine," he replied as he noticed her face seemed nervous, very nervous. "You'll be fine, Emilia. I'm here for you and you're a great person. You have to keep calm and believe in yourself. I believe in you, Tebeo." Naruto patted her head as she looked at him and smiled. "Yes," she replied with determination burning in her eyes. "Good," he said as he turned to Roswell. "Where should I be waiting?" "Just stand with the knights. Emilia-sama needs to be in the center," the clown man said. Naruto nodded to him as he walked toward the knights while looking at Emilia and giving her a thumbs up. However, he saw two women that he hadn't met before. One had green hair in a military uniform. The other one had purple hair and wore a white dress with a fur hat, but she looked like a child. They must be the candidates who want to be the future ruler. And, of course, he found Priscilla, who just winked at him. "You came just as I expected, Naruto." Naruto knows that voice as he turned to see familiar red-haired man looking at him with a smile. "Hey, Reinhard." He greeted, shaking hands with the knight. It has been a while. How have you been? Reinhard asked. I've been good, really good to Bayo. He said. You haven't changed since I first met you back in that bar. You, too. Hey, Reinhard. Naruto said as he looked at the women in far right. Who are they? I haven't seen them before. That woman in white dress named Anastasia Hashin. If you see the girl in military dress, her name is Crush Karsten. And them? Naruto asked, pointing to some old guys in chairs that were visible to everyone. Oh, those are the members of the Sage Council, they rule the country since there's no king. Naruto nodded to him and continued to look at the 4 candidates. So, they're all here because they were candidates to take the position of King of Lugnica. This looks very familiar to a Hokage meeting or voting to choose one person who could be the leader of the village. Everyone in attendance. A loud and strong voice surprised Naruto as he looked at the large man in knight armor with green hair. His voice silenced everyone and all focus was now on him. Now, if I may be so forward, I, Marcos, leader of the Royal Knights, will direct today's proceedings. It all happened about half a year ago, when members of the royal family, starting with the king, went into hiding, one by one, causing dash. Listen. Anastasia interrupted him. I get that you want to talk up a good show here, but I'm busy, you know. As we say in Kararaji, time is money. You're kidding? Naruto asked. Evidently, everyone in Western Kararaji speaks that way. Al said. I'm sorry, Anastasia-sama. But the last candidate still hasn't arrived. Marcos said. The last candidate? I thought there were only 4 of them. Naruto wondered. Currently, there are only 4 candidates. The royal selection hasn't even begun. But today, history is set in motion. Reinhard said with conviction. I call the knight Reinhard van Astria to the front. Was the call of Marcos, to which Reinhard obliged with a resounding yes. Walking to the center of the building just behind the candidates, Reinhard bowed to the old men in the chairs. Honorable members of the council, Reinhard van Astria wished to report the success of my mission. The 5th and last candidate to the throne of Lugnica was finally found. The last candidate has finally arrived. The knights guarding the door yelled as if on cue. The doors leading the throne room opened and everyone's attention was directed immediately towards them. Naruto turned to the door and narrowed his eyes to look better. He saw a light yellow dress with black, inside it was a girl that was shorter than Anastasia. The girl looks very familiar to him because she had golden hair and red eyes. Are you kidding me? Is this for real? He thought with a shocked look as he found that the girl was Felt. He was quite surprised that she's in the royal selection and became a candidate. Then, he looked at Reinhard that bowed to Felt. Felt-sama, thank you for gracing us with your presence. The red-haired knight said with his ever-present charming smile. Reinhard. Felt said gently with a smile as she approached him with the grace one would expect of a noble. Wow, Naruto was quite surprised at her personality change since he remembered her old self back from the first day he landed on this world. He had to applaud Reinhard for doing such a great job with her, and... You bastard. Felt said with an angry expression as she suddenly launched a kick to Reinhard's face, but he blocked her attack with ease. What do you think you're doing, bringing me to a place like this? What's with these clothes? Never mind. Felt hasn't changed at all. Though, perhaps it was for the better that her personality remained like that. You surprised me. What's brought on such behavior? Reinhard asked sadly as he put her leg down gently. Don't block my kick and ask me like nothing happened. I've had just about all I can take. Felt said. Does the dress not suit your taste? It looks lovely on you. He said. Felt seemed taken aback by that comment and actually blushed to the praise. Really no, wait. Only to explode in anger once more. Don't you feel ashamed of yourself as a knight, kidnapping and imprisoning someone? Felt seemed ready to burst a vein. I don't mind as long as it allows the kingdom to prosper. Reinhard said with the swift answer. Felt gave him a scowl, before she noticed Naruto was standing right behind Reinhard. Naruto, what the heck are you doing here? She sounded surprised to see the blonde boy who just waved his hand to her. Hey, it's been a while. Naruto said with a smile. I'm surprised you became a candidate. It's a long story. Felt-sama, it may be a good thing to renew old friendships, however, please come over here. Marco seemed to be getting impatient. Reinhard, like I told you already, I have no interest in becoming the next king. I believe in you, Felt-sama. Felt said to him as she walked in the center and stood next to Emilia. It was nice to see Felt again since Naruto left the capital for several days. However, that girl hasn't changed at all, and now she was candidate to rule the kingdom. What happened in such a short amount of time? I believe all the candidates are already here, so we can begin with the ceremony. Reinhardt said. So, everything begun as Marcos announced everyone about the god dragon Volcanica and the dragon history stone. There was a new prophecy carved into the dragon history stone. It said, when the covenant of Lugnica is severed, a new leader will guide the country. Supposedly, one of 5 candidates shall become the new king and renew the covenant with the dragon. Even if she is recognized as a candidate, don't you think there's a problem with the election? Was the comment of a noble. Are you saying that we, the Imperial Knights, made a mistake? At this inquiry of the noble, all the royal knights looked at them, and the tension in the air seemed palpable. Silence, said one the councilman. Reinhardt, could you explain to us how you found the 5th candidate? Kneeling before the old man, Reinhardt complied. I found Felt-sama in the slums, a month ago. This revelation had the nobles very horrified, a rat from the slums, as the new king of Lugnica. Preposterous. Murmurs were quickly increasing and Felt gave a piece of her mind to those bastards. I'm sorry for being a rat from the slums. You dragged me here against my will. She shouted. Then, Priscilla joined up and talked against Felt. All of this long-winded blather couldn't be more tedious. Of course, I suppose you lived as a gutter rat because you could only manage tedious conversation. Priscilla began to insult Felt too. Oh. If you want to fight, you've got one. Felt said as she glared at the orange-haired girl. Priscilla gave a death glare at the little brat. What insolence! Who do you think you are? She asked seriously as her aura rose up a bit and was about to attack Felt with the red fan, but Reinhardt was already kneeling in front of her. Many pardons, Priscilla-sama. He said as he bowed. What did you think you were about to do, in a hallowed place like this? Emilia demanded as she gestured her arm to Felt while protecting her from Priscilla. I was only trying to teach an untrained little bitch her place. Priscilla said, covering her face with her fan. You won't even apologize? Emilia asked, shocked. Then, will you also apologize for being born? You silver-haired half-elf. Those insults hurt Emilia's feelings, hard, but she closed her eyes and relaxed. She remembered what Naruto told her about facing her fears and to not be scared of humans. She felt this warm feeling in her heart. The same feeling that gave her the courage to face it. You're right, I am a half-elf, but you have no right to discriminate me just because of that, nor do you have any right to call Felt-san a rat. She said. What do you say? Priscilla asked as her eye twitched in obvious anger and glared at the half-elf that stood up to her. Naruto watched Emilia carefully and stayed at the knight's side, prepared to move if the situation scaled. You're wrong about me, Priscilla, because I'm not afraid of you. You can act like you're the queen all you want. I don't care if I do get stuck as a witch or as Satella for the rest of my life. I'll never give up and still be king someday. Emilia said. Someday, you'll regret your words and you'll be the one who will apologize to everyone. After hearing her small speech of courage, Priscilla clenched her teeth in anger and gave a death stare to Emilia. How dare you half-elf stand up to me? She said as she raised her fan up. The silver-haired girl began to shield herself for Priscilla's attack, but the pain never came. She saw Naruto in front of her stopping Priscilla's attack with a hand. Naruto. Emilia surprised as the blonde shinobi bowed to Priscilla with respect, imitating Reinhardt's actions before him. With all due respect, Priscilla-sama, I don't think you have a right to call her that. The shinobi said calmly with a sharp expression. Priscilla gave him a scowl for defending the half-elf from her attack, but she calmed and folded her fan. She just huffed and looked away from them. Thank you, Naruto. Emilia said with a smile as he turned to her and gave her a head pat. He smiled, he was proud of her for protecting Felt and standing up to Priscilla. This meant that she was growing as a person. Are you all quite finished? Miklot wondered as he looked at them, but mostly he looked at the blonde boy who defended Emilia. The boy walked back to his position in the knight's side. Then, royal selection candidates, please come forth. It has been 10 minutes later since 3 candidates told everyone about their goal when they became the king. Naruto listened to their speech the whole time. He didn't like Priscilla's goal because she's too prideful. Crush's goal was quite interesting because she wanted to make the dragon forget the covenant it demanded. The kingdom doesn't belong to the dragon, but to them. The speeches could be narrowed down to, Anastasia, I want the country. Crush, the kingdom will be ours, not the dragon's, consequences be damned. Priscilla, the world has already declared that I will be the king, so lick my feet. Oh right, he found out that Ferris is Crush's knight. Shocking to see the cross-dressing guy was actually a royal knight. And it wasn't Ferris, it was Felix Argyle. Tough, he doesn't seem to like that name. He noticed something about Anastasia. He felt negative emotions from her after she gave her speech. I wasn't able to have the feeling of sufficiency that I wanted. I want something bigger, something much bigger than before. I want this country. Her eyes were quite scary to Naruto. It was as if someone else was talking for her, those emotions were not hers, it was confusing. He wasn't sure if Julius knew about this oddity or not. A silver-haired half-elf. She's a half-demon. How filthy. Naruto heard the whispers from the nobles. Hearing them bad-mouthing Emilia, he started to get pissed, really pissed. His fists were clenched with anger, but he had to cool himself down. He didn't want to mess this chance, for Emilia. Emilia is already on the stair and stopped in the center where the throne is. Her attendant, Roswell, stood next to her. I have only one wish. For all to be equal. I desire to create a nation where all citizens are equal. Emilia finished with a bow. Finally, Feltsama and her attendant, the knight Reinhard van Astria. Marco said. Hang on. Don't get the wrong idea. I never said I'd be the next ruler. Felt said. Are you saying you withdraw from this election? He asked. Damn right I am. This is a joke. I've overlooked this because the situation is dire, but to drag it out this long is senseless. One of the nobles said. He's right. The Astria family offers a gutter rat to rule us, while Margrave Mathers endorses a half-devil? Utter foolishness. Bordeaux said. The word half-devil triggered Naruto in his mind as his aura started to leak out. His anger started to take over his mind and his memories of the past started to rush in. He was beyond displeased because of that one councilman and the nobles that discriminate against her for looking like Satella and being a witch. Emilia is a sweet and nice person and she had no connection with the witch they keep comparing her to. That silver-haired half-devil matches the jealous witch's appearance, as described for generations. Why do you not realize that even allowing her in the throne room is dreadful? Filthy woman Bordeaux gasped as he felt the disturbance in the air. Not only him, but everyone could feel the aura too. Nasty. Terrible. Evil. Toxic. The aura silenced everyone and got them scared really hard. An invisible hand threatened to choke the life out of them, some even were knocked out alright. The temperature of the room felt as if a twisted bastardization of the sun was present with them at that very moment. Emilia felt it too, but she managed to stand up and find the person who had that aura. She looked at the knight's side. The aura belonged to Naruto. She couldn't see his face because his hair shadowed his face, but she didn't want to see him like that. What's this feeling that emanated from him? So strong and furious. It had so much anger and it was scary. Stay strong, Lia. Naruto doesn't mean to harm anyone. Puck said. The silver-haired girl knew that already because Naruto was trying to protect her from everyone, silencing them so they couldn't speak ill of her. These people sure have been saying whatever they want in front of Emilia. If you plan on continuing, I won't forgive all of you. Naruto said with a dark tone as he started to walk toward the center, but continued to glare at everyone. Mostly, he glared at the bald man and the nobles. You all should be grateful to Emilia. All of you here haven't been destroyed because of Emilia's request. Though I'm not as patient and nice as Emilia is, who knows what I would do if Emilia wasn't here. Emilia rushed towards him before he did something very dangerous. Naruto, it's all right. Stop this. She said as she grabbed his hands to calm him down. It turned out unnecessary as Naruto was in control, and just took her hand and patted her head with his other. She saw him smile at her, and the feeling in the room disappeared just as quickly as it appeared. Try again, Emilia. Show them what I taught you. Like in the book. He said softly as he smiled. He poked her head with 2 fingers and Emilia recoiled. Then, it flashed in her mind. Emilia watched multiple flashbacks of him. She doesn't remember living these moments, because she didn't, but she realized this were his memories, the ones of what he has been through. I will lift the curse. If any kind of peace exists, I'll grab hold of it and never let it go. I never give up. I'll keep walking it, no matter how much pain I go through along the way. That's what Naruto is about. Don't try to be anyone but yourself. You can stop running. We're all waiting for you on this side. Just give up trying to make me give up. The flashback is done as Emilia's vision comes back as she looked at Naruto. Did he just show her some his memories? I believe in you, Emilia. Believe in yourself. He repeated the words he said to her before. His strong voice reached in her heart and her mind. Emilia shook her head to get rid of her fear and nodded to Naruto. She turned around to the councilman as she took a deep breath. My name is Emilia. I don't have a family name, so please call me Emilia. And, I have one request. She spoke. I wish for this election to be fair. It's important to me for the election to be fair. Emilia poured her heart out to both the council and the nobles. Though unknown to Emilia and the knights, the nobles and the council were still under the unforgiving hand of Naruto's killer instinct, hence why no one spoke against Emilia and her request, some even nodding frantically in hopes for the sickly feeling to end. Emilia turned around to the crowd as she continued to give her speech. I'm still inexperienced compared to the other candidates. There's a lot I don't know, and there's still a lot for me to learn. However, I understand our world is cursed, which starts the cycles of war, conflict, and hatred that occupies the world. That's why I'll continue to do my best. I will lift this curse. If any kind of peace exists, I'll grab hold and never let it go. I refuse to quit. She finished her speech with a salute. Her eyes were full of fire and spirit. The audience was speechless, the knights were awed and moved by her words, while some of the nobles still couldn't speak at all, though the word curse was resonating in their minds. By the way, Emilia-sama. Miklatov spoke as he pointed a slightly trembling finger at the blonde man. Who is that gentleman over there? Huh? Well, he's... Emilia said nervously as she looked at Naruto. However, she wasn't nervous anymore. So she spoke loud and clear, his name is Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto innocently and with a cheeky smile did an exaggerated bow to the sages, and spoke passively. A pleasure. If you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you later, bye bye.